Hello students, welcome to Super Coaching UPSC by Testbook. So friends, you have seen in the last few days, there is a widespread discussion about the location of Lakshadweep. A visit by our Honorable Prime Minister has seen about ideas of promoting of tourism in Lakshadweep has led to some kind of geopolitical tensions between India and Maldives. We'll discuss about all such kind of things in this session. This is a video presented by me, Venkatesh, where I'm explaining all the geographical concepts in current affairs, be it the Lakshadweep Islands, how from this topic questions can be asked for UPSC prelims exam, as well as another important scheme which was in news by the name PRITHvi VIgyan scheme, which is an encompassing of all 5 major elements of hydrosphere, atmosphere, cryosphere, lithosphere, and the biosphere. We'll discuss about the scheme of PRITHvi VIgyan as well as the Lakshadweep Islands. So, what happened in the last few days? In the last few days, there was one visit by our Honorable Prime Minister to the beautiful lands of Lakshadweep, promoting tourism in that part of the world. And from this, what kind of questions can arise? How we can increase tourism there? What are the geographical questions which you can come out of that? We'll discuss all such of events. Before we discuss about this Lakshadweep, a brief word about even the issue happened with Maldives. We all know that the countries around India, the string of pearls theory, as advocated by some of the geopolitical scientists, we can say that the string of pearls theory, all the countries which are surrounded by India, which are surrounding the country of India, you can see that they are sometimes having an impact with sandwich with respect to the another superpower, China. Some of the countries try to come together in close terms with China. Some countries try to come to close terms with India, or sometimes they frequently play their games here and there, right? So these kind of things, keeping this into considerations, you should always see this backdrop of event with this backdrop of the tussle between India versus China. So it is a game of the geopolitical game which is being played. Anyhow, let us, but if you have seen in the recent days, the kind of, context which was given by the some of the ministers in Maldives, that has become a very much controversial thing. In fact, it has become quite a controversial. Some of the government even has apologized, or rather the government has rather told that Maldives government that we no longer support the views of certain personal people. That is not the view of the government, because it was very, very disrespectful. Having said all these kind of things, my topics approach today would be understanding about the Lakshadweep Islands. What are they? How are they formed? How questions can be framed out of this topic? So without any wastage of time, let us talk about the Lakshadweep. So if you see the Lakshadweep Islands, right? So they are definitely not 1 lakh islands as the name suggests. Lakshadweep. So it means 1 lakh island. Laksha, it means as in Sanskrit in many of the other languages, it is 1 lakh. They are not of 1 lakh islands, but they are a group of many islands, tiny islands. Remember this? These are a tiny group of islands comprising of just around 36 islands, covering a total area of around 32 square kilometers. Very, very less area. If you see the India map, you can see Andaman Nicobar Islands, but definitely you cannot see much of the Lakshadweep Islands, which are very, very tiny dotted structures on the total map, political map of India, isn't it? I think, have you observed such kind of things? So this talks about they are a very, very less, having an area of only few kilometers. See, I'm not discussing about the point from here to here. All the islands put together, they cover around of just around 32 square kilometers. Very, very lesser into. You know what is the characteristic of this Lakshadweep Islands? Their topography is very, very flat. Their relief features such as hills, streams, valleys are very much absent. You see, the relief features are very much absent. You will not find much kind of topography at all. In fact, the highest point on this earth on this region, in this region, is very, very less. In fact, it is around just a few meters. So you don't find big hills and all those kind of things. They are very, very tiny things. Because of these tiny things, they're known for their natural landscapes. Say that is the corals, the white sand beaches. They're known for white sand beaches, the sandy beaches, which you can say, known for wide variety of flora and fauna. And also, you don't find a typical kind of a rushed lifestyle like you find in the mainland India or in many of the big cities where we have such kind of things. You don't find such kind of things. Many of the people here are either in fishing or in the agriculture activity of coconuts, or maybe nowadays we are trying to promote some kind of high quality tourism in Lakshadweep, which is the reason why they are direct conflict with the country of Maldives. That is why there is some kind of a economical tussle as well, isn't it? I hope you are able to follow, all of you. Right. So let's see about few more things. Now, if you see these questions, what kind of questions can be asked? One of the questions they can ask you about is the location of Lakshadweep Islands. Location. For example, you have the Maldives government here. This is the country of Maldives. So you'll see Maldives and Minicoy are separated by which channel? Minicoy and the other islands of Lakshadweep are separated by which channel? What is this channel name? Which is 8-degree channel, which is 9-degree channel, you are supposed to know. So this is the 8-degree channel. This is the 9-degree channel. So one question they can ask you about is arrange the following islands in a chronological order from north to south or south to north. You need to understand that Minicoy Island is the southernmost island of India. Then you find the Maldives. So above Maldives, you will find other islands, say the capital Lakshadweep, Kavaratti Island. Then you have the beautiful islands which are known for their landscapes as such, the Bangaram Island, Agati Island. So these are Amini Island, very, very popular islands, right? So these are the popular islands, and most of them are connected to the mainland India with the country, with the idea of Cochin, right? So you have to understand about these locations. Where are they located? Where is 9-degree, 8-degree, Minicoy and all? These are the basic aspects of location of Lakshadweep. And further, you should also need to realize that many of the islands, remember some of the popular islands which can be a prospective tourism, say Agati Island. In fact, that is a beautiful lagoon wherein which we are trying to, wherein which there is an airport. So if you wanted to go to connectivity with these regions, you have to go to this kind of a place like Agati. You see here, one such challenge which India is having with respect to compared of Lakshadweep or any other coral reefs across the world is, if you wanted to promote tourism, you need to have direct connectivity with the places. Say for example, you see these islands are very, very tiny. You see this from one side of the land to the another side of the land. Look at how much area they are covering in terms of the width. The width is very, very narrow. You can see this picture which tells about the tiny extent of land wherein which flights come. You can check this video. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Yeah. You can see here how much tiny it is there. You see how much tiny amount of area is there. While you land, if you see from an aerial view from the island as you can see this, if you are in the air, if you are in the flight, you will feel that we are directly landing onto the water. So that's a very, very tiny lands. So one such challenge we need to have is we need to have proper infrastructure of land connectivity so that we can attract mass people across the world. So remember one thing, if you wanted to develop tourism, there is one crucial factor of is connectivity and infrastructure. Be it the connectivity in terms of, that is also one type of infrastructure, whether it is railroad as such, or else the quality of hotels which we are providing, we need to increase that. There are many hotels established by, there are many hotels which we are developing right now with Taj groups and other groups as well, which are promoting the quality of hotels as well, right? So keeping this, the challenge of connectivity, what India can do is, we can also promote a group of, circuit of tourism. We call this as something as a concept called circuit tourism. What is this? Something called as circuit tourism. So what do you mean by circuit tourism is connect all different centers of, say, the Western Ghats with promoting the circuit tourism. For example, you can connect multiple, you can connect with Kerala, tourism of Karnataka, Kerala. You promote the group's packages in such a way that for 2 to 3 days, you can see the luxurious resorts of Kerala, and then you can go for 2 to 3 days with respect to the Coral Islands, or a 7-day package, 10-day package. So when you have connectivity of packages with this way and provide that infrastructure, direct connectivity with Cochin with so many centers of the world is already there, especially with Dubai and then into the other corners of the world. So when you have the direct connectivity with Cochin, you can have circuit tourism which can promote tourism in multiple places where you can attract. Along with that, even of late, you need to understand another important trend that in the last few years, not just it has been started almost now by it been already 10 years, you might have studied about a concept called disposable income in the economy. Disposable income deals with the amount of money left with an individual after paying the taxes. With the quality of skills and the economy being building day by day, you see that India's disposable income is increasing. Because India's disposable income is increasing, tourism is increasing like anything. Have you ever seen the videos in the recent era of the long weekends? Wherever you go, unfortunately, many of the people are celebrating their weekends on the road, isn't it? That is the kind of demand of tourism we have that. Keeping this demand into consideration, we are trying to promote infrastructure and quality so that we can understand the difference between a tourist and a traveler. A tourist needs all the kind of infrastructure. Traveler is like an eco-tourist. You might heard the word eco-tourist, where a traveler can try to go across multiple places without the infrastructure, but tourist cannot go it, isn't it? Tourists need the much needed space, much needed infrastructure and all. Those are the things which we need to focus upon. So here I'm bringing the geography things like, the tiny stretch of land which we are talking about, because Lakshadweeps are a very, very small group of islands, and that too the length and the width is very, very less. It is difficult to promote the infrastructure. That is what I'm trying to put the concern over here. That is number one. Number two, if you talk about the place here, this region, as you can see this picture, is known for tourism of the white sand beaches, as well as, what is this? You can say that white sandy beaches. You see, because they are away from the land and various other factors, you can see the sand is very, very white in color. And what is that concept you need to understand here is most of these things are lagoons. What are lagoons? Lagoons are narrow body of water which are separated from the narrow body of water separated from a big ocean by a tiny land body. So lagoons are very beautiful. For example, the Kerala is known for lagoons, the backwaters of Kerala, lagoons. You can talk about the lagoons on the east coast, say like uh, along the coast, along the eastern coast, we have that we have the centers of, the missile launch pads. As well, we also have the Sriharikota, which is the launch pad of our satellites, right? So all these places, whether you talk about the Sriharikota, it is a lagoon, or when you talk about the next one, the launch vehicle of missiles, Wheeler Island, Abdul Kalam Island, even that is also a lagoon. So lagoons are a body of water separating from the main body of water, with respect to a tiny land. So these lands are the beautiful structures. Many of these corals are also lagoons, known for white sandy beaches. And another important thing is they are known for their coral reefs. In fact, in India, coral reefs are found in 4 major places. One of the major places you have is Lakshadweep. The next important thing we have is Andaman Nicobar Islands. Andaman Nicobar Islands. Then you have the Gulf of Kutch. And then you have the Park Strait. In fact, these are the 4 places in India where you find the coral reefs. In all other places of India, coral reefs are absent. The reason is very simple. Corals, to survive, they need multiple variety of things. They need around good salt water ratio they need. They need salt water to fresh water ratio. Because on the east coast of India is known for big rivers, the rivers like Krishna, Godavari, uh, the Ganges, when the Brahmaputra Delta, right? So all these rivers bring a lot of amount of fresh water, because of which there is more fresh water and less salt water, and the salt water fresh water ratio is not there, where corals cannot survive. The calcium carbonate, the corals, they cannot be growing there. So that is the reason why very much on the main part of India they're absent. By the time you go to the south, there is the southern parts of Tamil Nadu, the India-Sri Lanka border, Park Strait, there definitely, or here you'll have that Gulf of Mannar, right? Gulf of Mannar. Here you have decent amount of corals, because by then you have very, very lesser amount of rivers which are bringing huge amount of water. So that is the reason. Understand, they need salt water ratio. And most of the corals are tropical waters. They should be free from pollution, free from tourism. They should be free from the tourism negative activities. Yes, tourism is a reason why they are known popular, but at the same time, tourism is also not sustainable in certain places. That also we need to look into consideration. But one major challenge about coral reefs of Lakshadweep, which you also need to know, is they are known for, unfortunately, in the last few years, they are known for the coral reefs which they are dying, which you call the process called as coral bleaching. Unfortunately, we are in the era of climate change. Increasing sea surface temperatures of the Arabian Sea. Increasing sea surface temperatures of the Arabian Sea. We have seen that in the recent era, the temperatures of the Arabian Sea is increasing, and thereby the most increase in temperature is leading to migration of the algae, because of which corals are turning white color, which we call it as coral bleaching. See, what are corals? Corals nothing but living in symbiosis with the corals. Polyps are living in symbiosis with the algae, right? Unfortunately, because these algae and all these things are dying, because of this, we call this phenomena as coral bleaching. So there are various methods of recollecting the coral bleaching and all such kind of things. We are trying to do multiple things for recollecting this, but yet they are work in progress. So this is the concerns. And how do corals Lakshadweep have been formed? You need to understand another important thing. Formation of Lakshadweep. When you talk about the Lakshadweep formation, Lakshadweeps are a group of tiny coral islands. Most of these coral islands, they are a group of tiny coral islands. Remember, the islands of Andaman Nicobar, you have an association with respect to the boundary with respect to India, Myanmar, whereas here they are tiny coral islands. To a certain extent, the formation of Lakshadweep Islands is also associated with the reunion hotspot volcanism. Reunion hotspot volcanism. We have understood about the concept of reunion hotspot in the plate tectonics concept. So this is about the background. But in general, what you can remember is how are corals, Lakshadweep Islands are formed. Lakshadweep Islands are formed with respect to corals. They are coral islands. Please remember that they are coral islands. Right. Then what I'd be doing for you is today in the I'll be giving some additional points with such. You can go and check. Lakshadweep also known for world's first sea cucumber conservation reserve. You can see these are the sea cucumber animals found in the sea, and you have the world's first sea cucumber conservation reserve in the Lakshadweep. This is one such. And the economy of Lakshadweep, it is known for coconut and coir are the main products, while tuna fish is exported to foreign markets. You also see that in general, Lakshadweep is known for a tropical climate with more amount of warmness, right? All these are the basic ideas or basic information about Lakshadweep. Then today I'll be in the master class at a free master class in the Testbook app, where you can get the link from my Telegram channel, where you can get in the description. This masterclass is a free class where I'll be preparing some MCQs out of these questions, out of this topic being discussed on Lakshadweep. Then there is also a very another important scheme which is part of the current affairs which is being there in the news. The scheme is called as PRITHvi VIgyan scheme, which is an you can see here, empowering tomorrow's earth science. It is part of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, which it comprises deals with hydrosphere, the water resources of the country, the atmosphere, the gases, the weather, and all such kind of things. You can see the ice, the glaciers, ice caps in the era of climate change. This is very important. Cryosphere. What do you mean by cryosphere? You need to understand that. The lithosphere, the rock sphere, as well as the biosphere, the life. In fact, these are the 5 major spheres of geography. You can see that they are very, very closely interacted with each other. Keeping this into consideration, the government, Ministry of Earth Sciences, has given an outlay. Recently, Cabinet has given nod to this PRITHvi VIgyan scheme with a financial outlay of almost around 5,000 crores. And this deals with all the issues put together. This is the overarching authority which deals with this. For example, when you know that the atmosphere and the climate research modeling observation systems are very important, this is a model called as ACROSS. You have the ocean services modeling application called as OSMART. You have the polar science and the cryosphere research called PACER. You can see here the polar science and the cryosphere research, seismology and geoscience, research, education, training and outreach, reach out. Now you see these things. This scheme is very important in this way. Understand this phenomena. Now we have a climate change. This climate change is happening in the atmosphere, but it is having an impact in different corners. For example, when the climate change is happening, you can see the sea ice is melting. It has its consequences of life across the world in terms of things. You can see that sea levels are rising. You can see that impact having an impact on the atmosphere, things having an impact on multiple things. So it is an all interrelated domain. Keeping this interrelated domain into consideration, you have started this PRITHvi VIgyan scheme. So under which ministry the scheme comes under? Ministry of Earth Sciences. Then what are the basic objectives of this PRITHvi VIgyan scheme? The basic objectives of this PRITHvi VIgyan scheme is, first one, you need to know the long-term observations of the atmosphere, ocean, geosphere, cryosphere, and solid earth to record the vital signs of the earth system. Then the development of model systems for understanding and predicting all the events, say climatic hazards. You see that the hazards like tropical cyclones, the hazards like weather storms, like the cold wave which you are witnessing recently in the northern India, or else the hot waves which you can see later on. You can see all such kind of things are very, very closely observed. The increasing cyclones, the intensities and frequencies of cyclones in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, that is attributed to the climate change that we are seeing. You are exploring the polar and the high seas regions of the earth toward discovery of new phenomena and resources. You can talk about development of technology for exploring sustainable harnessing of oceanic resources for societal applications. You can talk about the environmental and economic benefits arising out of all these things. So the objective of this mission has varied about multiple things. So simple point, the PRITHvi mission, VIgyan mission, under which ministry does it comprise under? Ministry of Earth Sciences. And what does it comprises about? All these kind of things. This is what the background is. Next time, why this, how do you can use this PRITHvi VIgyan scheme for your preparation is, they can ask some MCQs out of these 5 schemes, or they can also ask you about a model answer For example, imagine there is a question on climate change. What you can talk about is, considering the impacts of climate change, Government of India has recently started a PRITHvi VIgyan scheme with an outlay of this fund for further understanding. That is how you can contextualize this. So you can bring the context of this PRITHvi VIgyan scheme in the government schemes, and you can write such kind of content even for a geographical answer, right? Moving forward, uh, all these kind of things you can get into my Telegram channel. I will be giving some kind of MCQs on this topic as well in the master class. You can get all such information by getting into the Telegram channel. That's it for today. Every week, be it Monday and Wednesday, I'll be coming up with the Geography Explained series, where I'm bringing the current affairs topics in a simplified version to you, right? That's it for today. We'll come back tomorrow with a new topic. Thank you.